Now, I said that lists are ordered. The order matters in a list. And that means that we can refer to specific elements within a list according to their location. And we do that by specifying their index. Okay, because they're all the order matters, then we can say, well, what's the third element? And that will always be the same. So to refer to an element within a list by providing its index, we use the following notation. We give the name of our list, and then we open our square brackets immediately and put in a number that represents the index. Now here I've put in X because it could be that your number is stored within a variable value. But essentially, whatever goes in there needs to resolve to an integer, and it must be an integer. You can't have the 1.7th element of a list. It has to be a whole number. Now, as I flagged up earlier, Python, like many programming languages, usually starts counting from 0, and this is the first point at which it might trip you up, because it's all very well and good in a for loop, and you can probably get your heads around that. But it also does that in terms of the indices for a list, okay? Which means the first element has an index of 0. The second element has an index of 1. Third element has an index of 2, etc. And this can catch you out, particularly if you're asking for something in the middle that you might forget, particularly if you're new to this, that actually putting a 3 in square brackets here will not give you the third element, it'll give you the fourth element, okay, because it'll start from 0. So a 3 is actually the fourth element in the list. So in this example here, if I said my list, open brackets, square brackets, and then put 3 in there, and hit enter, that would then give me back the value hello, which as I say is the fourth element in the list. So be wary of that, it will trip you up. You will get used to it the more you code. And then you'll find that one of the constructs in Python that doesn't start counting for 0, and you'll curse it. But most things do. Most things start from 0. You can also, as well, use negative indexing if you want to refer to an item based on its position from the end of the list. Now, you probably won't use this very much, and usually when you do, it's to grab the last element of the list, or the next to last. You usually don't use it for much else than that, and you probably won't use it too much anyway. But you can do it, and we just use negative indexing for that. But of course, because 0 is reserved for the first element, that means if you want the last element, that's -1. So the first element from the back is actually a 1, it's just a negative one, just to further sort of confuse things. I mean, it has to work that way, but there we are. So -1 will give you the last element of the list, -2 the second to last, -3 the third to last, etc. So you might use that. You'll probably use, mostly you'll probably just put in a -1 there to grab the last element of a list. If you want to, and this is a bit more useful, and you use this a lot more, you can actually refer to more than one element in a list at a time. And to do that, we use something called a slice. And it's known as slice notation in Python, and this is what it means. We basically use a colon, and we can specify essentially a range of indices, and it will grab that as a slice. So imagine you've got your list like a sort of long birthday cake, and you cut a slice out, and this tells it where to cut those slices to take that slice of the list, and that's the bit you're interested in. And as you can probably imagine, that's you use that quite a lot when you need to grab a certain part of a list. Now, when you give the slice notation, the first element, the first index is counted, the second index is not. So just like when you specify a range, as you did in the for loops, it goes from and including the bottom number, up to but not including the top number. So here, my list with a slice between indices 1 to 3 will actually return the value of 4, which is at index 1, and the value of 7, which is at index 2. It won't return hello, which is at index value 3. So it's up to but not including. And that, again, holds true for many Python constructs, but again, not all. In fact, you'll see some on this course where that doesn't apply, just to further confuse you. But generally speaking, they are the exceptions rather than the rule. For most Python things, it's up to but not including. So that's how we could take out a slice, specifying both the start and the end indices. We can also do that by not specifying a start index. So this here, where we've just put :2, and there's no number before the colon, means give me everything up to, but not including, index number 2. So in that case, it'll give me the first two elements, those are index 0 and 1, so 3 and 4. Similarly, we can do the other way around as well. So my list with 3 colon and nothing after the colon would say, give me everything from 3 onwards until the end of the list. In this case, that's just 2 elements, so it will return hello and 2. But if there was another 100, it would give us the other 100 as well. And it returns these things, as you can see. A slice is returned as a list. So it's a way of getting a sublist out, okay, because it's more than one element. If you just ask for a specific element, like here, you get the raw value. But if you ask for a slice, you'll get it back as a list. And sometimes you'll then want to store that sublist in a new list, and call that something else.